We've got two guests. We've got two guest speakers today. We've got Laura. How do you pronounce your last name?
It's Kerber.
Kerber from Georgia, who's going to talk about how to use text messaging to enhance your customer user experience and your support. And I think that this is a really neat opportunity to extend your service, remain more competitive than most of your competition and still function well. And John Pruitt, who was here last week, he's from Omnisend, and Omnisend, people know they do email. You may not be aware that they also offer text messaging and that you can even combine them into your marketing campaigns. So there's a lot of really cool stuff you can do. That's why we're holding today's session, because I think this is one of those nice little things that can make you a bunch of more money quickly. So with that, John, you want us to start?
Yeah, I'm happy to. I mean, it might flow kind of nicely, kind of going into the client experience and so forth. And, one thing I didn't mention in my deck here, but knowing that Gorgeous was going to be here as well, is we actually, and Laura, you may get into a little bit of this, and if not, I'm happy to also jump in and discuss it, but we actually integrate directly with Gorgeous for two-way SMS communications on the customer service side of things. So I'm sure she's going to dive a little bit deeper into that, but really all on my side of things, and I'll share my screen here. Actually, I need access to share my screen. Looks like I do not currently have it.
Got it now.
There we go. Thank you, AJ. All right. You all should be able to see my screen.
I can.
Okay, awesome. Well, great. So just kind of jumping in, the topic of the day is like why and how to incorporate SMS into your marketing strategy. And as Lori mentioned, Omnisend, we for those who don't know who Omnisend is, we're a marketing automation platform built for online retailers. My background is prior to coming to Omnisend, I've been here, October will be 2 years I've been in Omnisend. Prior to coming to Omnisend, I actually helped run the technology partner program and marketplace over at BigCommerce. And then prior to that was with another marketing automation platform called Bronto Software that was acquired by NetSuite, and then subsequently Oracle about 12 months after that. So I've been in this marketing automation space really, even if you include the time at BigCommerce, because we were doing a lot in the marketing space. I've been in this space for over 10 years now, and it's very near and dear to my heart. And ultimately, we're here to help online retailers like yourselves increase your revenue. But I don't want to make this a pure pitch for Omnisend or anything like that. Obviously, if anyone's interested in learning more about Omnisend or just SMS and strategy in general, my email will be at the end of the presentation. So please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to discuss it, even if you're using a competitive solution. I just geek out over this stuff. So pleasure to be here. So we'll kind of jump in. When I just kind of gave the introduction of Omnisend, Omnichannel Marketing Automation Platform. So we focus on things like email being our primary medium that we use, but we also do quite a bit around things like Facebook and Google Ads, allowing you to do retargeting. But one of the newer mediums that many merchants, including many of yourselves, are really wanting to learn more about is SMS. We've been doing this for about 2.5 years here at Omnisend. And the cool thing about it is when you start thinking about omnichannel and the definition, it's creating, for us, the reason omnichannel is so important is we want to help create a seamless message across all of the different channels that you work with, whether, again, it's email, SMS, push notifications, your Facebook ads, your Google retargeting, all of those things are super, super important. And when we think about the buyer journey, the customer journey is no longer linear. It's not just, one, there's so many distractions. There's so many different competitors out there, unless you're in the pickleball space, which is still, kind of relatively new and up and coming, but eventually it's going to, I guarantee you soon, Chris, as it gets on TV, people are going to latch on, it's going to take off. You're definitely at the forefront of it there, but regardless, there's still so many distractions, whether it's, you're searching for a t-shirt, but you're like, oh man, those shoes are cool. And then you get, sent in a different direction. But really the idea around omnichannel is trying to be, trying to market your products, to your consumers in multiple channels. And we've seen that by adding more channels to your messaging automation and your communication, it's driving significantly higher purchase rates and conversion rates, as well as retention over time. So that's why when we start talking about the omni-channel approach, that SMS plays such a high and such a relevant piece in this. So 287% higher purchase rate from campaigns that touch 3 or more channels. Again, email, SMS, Facebook retargeting, you name it. I mean, there's so many different ways of doing it out there. So that's why it's super, super important to think about the additional channels that you can layer into your marketing communications whenever you're trying to talk to a consumer. So a little bit more about why to add SMS, just at a high level. SMS, I guarantee you every single person on this call has probably got your phone sitting right beside you. Mine's within reach here. And ultimately, SMS, the open rate is just phenomenal, 98%, 29% engagement rate. And it's this astounding fact of like, I think it's 96% or 97% last time I saw of all text messages that are read within the first 3 minutes of receiving them. So think about like, wow. Like, I mean, I check my email. Obviously, I check my work email throughout the day, but even that, I try to dedicate certain times of the day to actually check email versus like kind of dedicated work time, like working on a presentation like this, or having calls with partners or whatever it may be. I don't check my personal email nearly as much as I do my work email, but I'm not receiving promotional messages to my work email. But my phone right here beside of me, unfortunately, it's a little bit of a distraction at times, but it's here. So it's super, super, it has incredibly high engagement rates. And then when we start thinking about Gen Z, 31% of Gen Z are uncomfortable being away from their phones for more than 30%. And as Gen Z continues to grow and gets more sophisticated, they start making more money. There's a lot of opportunity here to capitalize with this. So definitely SMS is something that you definitely want to be thinking about. SMS is also a very trusted opt-in channel. So you see over here on the right, we've got this pop-up. Asking for phone number. So 2,755% average SMS return on investment whenever you're actually using SMS effectively. And when we talk about SMS, I've used the word omnichannel here and adding it into your marketing automation flows. One thing I want to kind of preface is SMS just isn't going to like immediately take off for you. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but if you think just adding SMS without it being integrated into your marketing stack and your marketing approach is going to help, then you're wrong. Like, you need to actually think about, how does this play a role in how I'm going to drive revenue? Because SMS is a much more approachable channel than it was 5 years ago. It's much cheaper now than it used to be, but still compared to other channels, it is a little bit pricier. So you got to think about strategically how and when you're going to use SMS. And we'll get into that a little bit here in just a moment. But what we're seeing with SMS here at OmniSend is 15% of your of campaign revenue is actually coming directly from SMS itself. So you'll see over here on the right-hand side, there's kind of an example of a workflow. So email campaign with 20%, 20% off, or a 20% off offer. It waits 40 hours. Then we send out, an automated reminder of, hey, you haven't purchased yet. Here's 20%. And then 24 hours after that, we're actually layering in this level of SMS to actually make sure that they've seen this. So we're not utilizing this all the way through the workflow here, but we're using it as a way to continue to try to boost that conversion rate. And we're seeing significantly a good chunk of revenue coming through this type of flow. So that's just kind of one of the examples in which you can kind of think about how to layer in SMS into your marketing channels. But diving in a little bit deeper of ways to actually use SMS, knowing that, and thinking about the holidays and things coming up too. I mean, there's all kinds of time-sensitive messages you may want to send out if you're doing a lot of promotions around Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Obviously, there's a lot of conversation, or is it really Black Friday, Cyber Monday anymore, or is it Gray November? It's the entire month of November has kind of become a promotional thing, but there's ways to still utilize things like SMS with the holidays coming up. And it's thinking about time-sensitive messages. So think about if you've got a a flash sale on a particular product. Maybe it's a pickleball paddle or child's bike accessory from Guardian Bikes, who's on here. It's like, how can we leverage SMS to drive really high engagement in a short amount of time and make sure that those messages get to the consumer effectively and quickly? Because again, I don't check my email every 2 minutes. I don't have my email, while yes, it's in my pocket, I don't get a notification every single time I get an email. Every time I get a text message, my watch goes off, I hear a ping, I know what's going on. So immediately I pick up my phone, oh, such and such text me, I review that. So think about leveraging time-sensitive SMS messages with time-sensitive promotions and opportunities for consumers to purchase. So that's one of the ways to think about leveraging SMS. So also kind of similar, think about rewarding those who have signed up for your SMS. And we'll touch on this in just a few minutes too, of like trying to entice people to sign up. But those who are engaged with you on SMS, maybe offer them early access to sales, and maybe use this as a way to leverage it and grow your SMS subscriber list. So, hey, sign up for exclusive alerts. I know Adidas, I'm originally from North Carolina. I'm a North Carolina State football fan. I've been getting targeted ads from Adidas for the past few weeks, like, hey, join our app to get early access to NC State specific Adidas merchandise. What do I do? I download the app. Now I'm getting push notifications. I'm getting text messages from Adidas saying, hey, we just dropped this brand new Adidas Ultra Boost NC State shoe. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta have this. So they're doing such a good job of providing early access to their more engaged subscribers. So this is a great way too of thinking about how do I actually utilize SMS in the flow of driving revenue for my company. I mentioned this just a few minutes ago. Use SMS to actually drive people back to your emails. I think it was Sephora who did a SMS campaign, and full transparency, they're not an Omnisend client, but they did a birthday promotional message where they sent an email out. They waited 24 hours, and if people did not respond to that or didn't click or actually convert, they then sent a text message out and said, hey, by the way, we sent you a special birthday offer. So it's like they're actually utilizing SMS to drive people back to their other offers. So you see right here on the right hand side, if someone subscribes, wait an hour, send them an email, wait 3 hours, and then ping them, say, hey, by the way, there's a special offer in your inbox. So you're actually using that to drive engagement through other channels as well. So, just kind of strategic ways. Again, SMS, if you just implement on its own, it's really, really tough. And if your systems aren't talking, that's one of the beautiful things about a system like Omnisend or some of our competitors that have a fully integrated tech stack with SMS and email and additional channels, is you can really layer this into your workflows. So it becomes a cohesive part. And if someone converts at an earlier stage, maybe they don't get that text message, but it's really, really smart to think about how do you leverage this into your entire workflow. So, again, another way of using it is thinking about how to use it in the welcome series, which we just saw. Use it in browser or product or cart abandonment messages. Hey, your cart's about to expire. Here goes an exclusive free shipping offer. Again, very engaged channel. If they've subscribed to that SMS, it's a great way of utilizing to help increase revenue and then recover those carts and recover that revenue that might have escaped you in the past. So it's also one of those, it's your cart recovery message is going to get to that individual much faster than that email sometimes. Now, and I'm not talking down email. Email's still the most profitable and return on investment channel that you're going to see. But it's definitely, a great way of utilizing SMS to help with things like cart abandonment and browser abandonment as well. So, and I'm sure Laura will get into some of this as well, but think about utilizing SMS for like shipping and confirmation messages. I love seeing it, even if it's from like, I actually sign up for FedEx to receive notifications like, hey, we just picked up a package. That's awesome. I also love seeing that come from the retailer itself of, hey, we just shipped X package. And then I get a text message from FedEx. It's like, track your shipment. So it's just kind of that feel good of knowing like, hey, my product's on the way, my product's been delivered. It's really, really nice to see that, because I'm like a kid whenever someone rings my doorbell, as long as it's not a solicitor, I love to see what Amazon or somebody else has dropped on my doorstep. So another great way of utilizing the SMS there. And just kind of wrapping it up really quickly, and I know I'm kind of speeding through because I want to leave time for questions and additional conversation around this. This is going to sound really, really basic ways to start your program. But honestly, the easiest way to start is start gathering your phone numbers. So add a phone number field or consent field into things like your pop-ups. Utilize social media to send people to a landing page with a CTA to sign up for your SMS messages. Leverage things like what Adidas did that said, hey, get early access to specific products or special products for our SMS only subscribers. Really, really start to utilize that. And again, you don't have to text them every single day. I've got one retailer who literally texts me every day, and I look at it and I have 98 unread text messages. I delete all of them. You just have to be very strategic in it and how you're leveraging it. You don't want to do it just like you're doing with email and so forth, but you also want to try to personalize it as much as you can as well. But think about things that are going to entice somebody to take that additional step. And if someone gives you your consent to text them, this means they're likely considerably more engaged than many of your other subscribers. So definitely something to think about here. So leverage things like that, those product launches, special access, special discounts, special announcements, things like that. And then ultimately, once you started gathering them, start incorporating them into your campaigns and your workflows. So combine them with your emails and your other channels that you're working on. Ultimately, this is going to help you drive significantly more revenue by starting to incorporate it and then tying the whole message together, having one cohesive message of, hey, we sent you this welcome series or this specific discount. Go check it out. Click here for more information. Go recover your cart. Just very, very, very smart to make sure. I just saw a typo there, so I apologize. But just think about how you can leverage it to drive more engagement. And I can definitely share some links and some white papers and things of that nature that could help you guys better understand it. I'll put those in the chat here in just a few minutes when we get done. But that's really it. There's my email address if you have any questions or anything, and I'm happy to open it up now. But if you have any questions offline, please feel free to email me or hit me up on LinkedIn as well.
Do you guys want to ask questions now, or do you want to view through Laura's presentation and then hit them both up hard?
I mean, if we're going to open it up for questions, I have one right now.
Yep.
Okay.
My question is there a platform that you recommend for users to use SMS marketing for?
Shameless plug, Omnisend, we can do it. But it ultimately depends on where you're at in your journey as well. We believe so much in SMS, we actually give free SMS away with a couple of our packages that we offer here at Omnisend. So it's pretty much for like every $1 you spend in email, you get free and SMS credits. So there's definitely solutions like Omnisend. There's some competitive solutions out there as well. Who are you using for email today, Elijah? And I'm not trying to go on the full sales pitch here, but maybe I can kind of give you at least some insight into who integrates as well.
I'm using MailChimp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we should definitely connect. There's solutions out there that like Postscript and SMS Bump and things like that. But the challenge with using different systems is oftentimes they're not communicating together. And that's the beauty of thinking about all-in-one solution. So did they open that welcome series, that welcome message? If they didn't, then maybe I send them that text message. If they're not tightly integrated, it's going to be a challenge.
Right. Do you know if there's a feature that whenever you send text messages to people, it's not a text alert? It looks like maybe you get an icon of a person waving, like, hey, I got something cool to tell you. And whenever they go to that text message, a video automatically plays vertically on the canvas of your phone.
Oh man, we're taking it next level.
Yeah, this is all basic stuff. Everything you're telling me, this is like really I mean, we all know this, right? So like, I want to know can we take it to the next level? Like think about future, like think about Gen Zs and stuff like that. Like text messaging is kind of boring. You get a text message, whatever, you know what I mean? But like take it to the next level. Like whatever, what if you get like a video alert or some kind of alert in text that says you have a video waiting and it plays the video automatically in your screen. And so in your screen, you have like if a video plays, it's someone showing you a hat or a product. And then it's also like that area is like anchored. So if you click on the hat, it takes you to the e-commerce site on either an Instagram or the website. So it's not a text message anymore. It's like an interactive like video.
An
Video
MMS.
message. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Multimedia.
Yeah, MMS is going to be the closest thing, but it's not going to be nearly as in depth as that. I mean, that's something that most of us SMS providers can, or platforms can do as well as MMS. But when you're getting into full video play and clickable and things like that, I think that's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. I don't know of anything right off the top of my head. Lori,
Okay,
I know
cool,
you
that's
know.
fine.
Yeah.
Then maybe I just need to like start up that brand and
yeah, absolutely.
I was
like,
gonna say
yeah.
that there are video solutions out there. I don't know if they're doing any. I mean, the ability to make them taggable may be more of a challenge. I think you have an interesting idea that's worth looking at. The other thing you have to look at is who your target customer is, because that sounds kind of expensive. So, and so then you have to rate into it. Anyway, let's get, I think it's a fabulous idea. Let's get back on topic. Somebody had asked, and then I want to make sure we give Laura ample time too. If you have an existing email list, is there a best practice for asking people to opt in for phone numbers? It's a great question.
Yeah. It's an absolute wonderful question. I mean, obviously you could send this message out to anybody, but thinking about leveraging the types of, special offers and things that you can potentially do. We have a number of merchants who will send out an email and says, hey, subscribe to our SMS for 10% off your next order or free shipping or something like that. You can do it to your most engaged, like your VIP customers or whatever, however you want to segment that list and go after that list, or you can send it to all of them. But that's definitely, once you've already got that customer who's subscribed, it's just a matter of, making sure that they're aware of the channel, putting it on your social channels, and typically, it's easier now to start gathering. And I think there was a question about, is there like a collection or sign up form? There's a number of different forms out there that you can use to gather it. There's something like a Just Uno or a Privy. Many of the providers like ourselves, we have those forms built in as well for collections. So if you can collect it up front now, that's great. But for those who are already on your email list, just shoot them a series, shoot them a campaign. Ultimately trying to engage with them and drive them to engage with your brand, because the opportunity is endless at that point. Whenever you can start utilizing multiple channels, and you'll see a nice return on investment from it.
Cool. All right, let's shift to Laura, because I think using text for customer service is also an equally hot topic. So Laura, are you ready to give it a go?
Yes, I am. Okay, I'm more of a Google Meets person, so just figuring out how to share my screen. Let's see here.
It's the little green button on the bottom.
Got it. Okay, let's go to the beginning here. All right, and then I have to ask, is everyone seeing this okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, looks
awesome. Good. All right, well, cool. Yeah, I just want to say thank you, John, for an awesome presentation. And yeah, our teams do work really closely together. So I was super excited to see OmniSend on this call as well. But my name is Laura, and I'm excited to continue this conversation really surrounding the importance of including an omnichannel approach to your customer support strategy as well. And why having, channels like SMS, Messenger, and chat in your customer support is going to be super important. So just quickly, some background about me before I get started. I joined Gorgeous a little over a year and a half ago. When I started, I was working directly with merchants to help them uncover what their customer support needs and share how improving their overall customer experience is going to help them reach their goals. And then earlier this year, I joined the partnership team where I actually get to work with many of our partners out there in the ecosystem to scale even more brands through exceptional customer experiences. And then quickly, if you're not familiar with Gorgeous, if this is the first time you're hearing about it, it is a help desk and it is the #1 help desk for e-commerce. So what I mean by help desk is we are centralizing all the communications that you are having with your customers into one place. So you're not needing to, switch between a million different tabs and tools just to engage with them. And, we work with over 7,200 brands around the world, and those are all direct to consumer e-commerce brands. I've listed several of them over here on the right-hand side. We can really work with anyone, pretty much any size, from startup entrepreneur to, large brands like Steve Madden. As long as you're a D2C brand selling to your customers online, on Shopify, Magento, BigCommerce, there's probably a lot we can help out with. So if that sounds like something that you guys could benefit from, then feel free to reach out to me after this presentation. My email is laura@gorgeous, and I'm happy to set you guys up with a free trial or a second month free to get started. But to hop into the presentation, I did mention, the term exceptional customer support a number of times. And what exceptional customer support to us is, first and foremost, fast and high quality support. So not making your customers wait, days or a week for a response from you, getting back to them, within a matter of hours or even minutes, while they are engaged with you, is super important to them. I know when I myself, and I'm sure some of you guys can relate to this, when I am having a customer support issue, I am, reaching out to the brand maybe via email. And if I'm not getting a response right away, I am then, hitting them up on, Facebook Messenger or, maybe their live chat, anything to get a really quick response. Because I want to make sure that, one, I'm taken care of, and two, that, this is a brand that I can trust. And rather than getting, it's one thing to automate an immediate message back to a customer, but I'm not really looking for that automated, generated response that's sent to everyone. I want a personalized, high quality response to my issue. So once we're able to, you're able to achieve those two things, a fast and high quality support, you're going to see your costs reduced, because you're not needing to spend so much time responding to customers. I mean, I talked a little bit about having customers reach out to you with the same problem across multiple channels. You're going to reduce those number of incoming messages if you're able to respond to them the first time on the first channel they reach out to you on. And then you're also not needing to spend so much money on such a large customer support team, because you're able to respond to more customers with less people. And then that also, leaves us more time to, focus on either those more complex customer issues or those revenue generating activities, conversations via SMS or live chat or social media. And then these are just some quick stats I always like to share. And I mean, I know I definitely fall within all of these, and I'm sure most of you guys too, but yeah, 90% of customers are expecting that immediate response. And yeah, I mentioned before, I mean, I'm one of those people that is sitting there refreshing their inbox, waiting for the brand to get back to me. And so if you're able to deliver that kind of experience to your customers, then they're more likely going to be purchasing from you again in the future. And then also they're looking for that, very personalized experience too. So what I recommend is having some kind of process or solution in place to not only get back to customers quickly, but also quickly pull in, tailored information directly to that customer into your, your templated responses to give them that personalized, tailored response. And then in terms of like getting back to customers quickly, which we also see is that if you can respond to, SMS messages and, chat conversations from your customers in less than 10 minutes, then you're able to increase conversion by 28%. There we go. So how can we do this, achieve this instant communication and personalization with our customers, especially if we're getting tons of messages from them? We want to be everywhere where they are. So, not just via, email inbox and not just, via phone number. We want to be where the customers are. We want to be on social media, on the website via live chat. We want to make ourselves very accessible for when they have a question about their order or they have a question about a project or a product. We are there to respond to them as quickly as possible. They're not needing to go to your website, find your contact form, reach out to you through that, or search for a phone number or an email. When you get a text messages from the brand, we want to be able to respond to that text message and then expect a response back in the same form. So John talked a lot about SMS and we do have an integration with Omnisend. So what we're able to do is, what we know is, these messages get over 90% open rate. They're one of the most popular channels to connect with customers on. So making, it's one thing to, invest all that, time, resources into campaigns via SMS to engage with your customers. But when we get that response back from the customers, we want to be sure that we are engaging back with them. We don't want to, leave them on red. If the customer has a question, maybe, we sent out your brand sent out an SMS message about order status. Maybe they're having an issue with that order and they let you know via text message. And then that message is just sitting there. You don't want to just leave them with no response, no update on their order. You want to be there to respond to them as quickly as possible, as well as you want all their customer information very easily accessible to be able to respond to them with the right information, with the personalized information. And same goes for Messenger and pretty much all social media. Think about the last time that you learned about, a new brand. There's a very good chance that that was on social media. And the way buyers are today, if they see a brand on social media, they may just engage with them right there. They see something on a post that they really like, they leave a comment on it. You want to make sure that you are responding to all of those comments right away and engaging with them. Because what we've seen is, if you're responding to these messages quickly, you are seeing up to like a 30% increase on your return in ad spend. And then, just to touch on that, one quick tip on how you can do that is make sure you're responding to everything. So, if you see a social media post and, it's a really great ad, but then there's a million comments under it and, asking questions and there's no response from the brand, for the consumer, that is going to be a huge red flag. So you want to make it easy for your team to respond to those customers. So rather than, maybe screenshotting the message or linking it and emailing it over to your support team to respond, you want your support team to be in that message to respond directly to them. And then you can also use this to, send out quick offers. So maybe someone leaves some love for you on social media. You can, send out coupon codes to them. Make sure that you're engaging with them at all times. Another quick way to engage with them proactively is going to be with chat campaigns. So, if you get a message from an SMS message from a brand or you see it on social media, if you're not engaging with them right then and there, your next step is probably going to be to go to their website. And rather than leaving it to them to, search through everything, you want to make sure that you are there to start a conversation with them. So you can actually, use a tool to, as soon as the customer reaches your website, to pop up and maybe ask them a question, ask them how you can help them, offer them a coupon code, maybe offer them some information if they're, looking at a certain product. Here's some information about sizing, and engage with them that way as well. And then, yeah, one thing to keep in mind is just to keep it personalized too. So, it's important to respond back to customers very, very quickly. But again, you don't want it to be that generic response. So having, your whether it's your CRM or wherever you're hosting all this customer information, have it easily accessible for your team to put directly into the responses. You don't want them spending so much time searching up, looking up orders, copying and pasting information, typing out messages. You want it to be easily pulled into all of your templated responses and get those responses back out to customers as quickly as possible. And yeah, I think it's important to touch on, how we can actually think about saving a lot of our time that we spend speaking with customers, so that we can save more time for, these engaging revenue generating activities that we talked about that happen over SMS and live chat and social media. So what we know is that you guys probably, or your teams probably, spend a lot of your day responding back to the same types of questions. We've actually done, a big study on this to understand which types of questions are most popular in customer support for e-commerce brands. And you probably won't be surprised to see, but order status, asking the status of, your order or your package, is by far the quickest. So having a strategy to respond to these top 10 questions is going to save your team a ton of time, where they can spend more time engaging with customers on other channels and bringing in more revenue for your brand. And then I also think it's important to touch on it's important to think about incorporating some level of machine learning and automation to, again, respond to those top 10 customer questions very quickly. But also what you can do, and I'm going to point this out because OmniSend is on the call, but what you can do with Gorgeous's machine learning and automation is you can automatically tag customer inquiries when they come in to Gorgeous to understand what they're asking. And that's all based on our machine learning. So you can understand, if the customer's asking about sizing or product or order status. You can then use those tags to segment them into lists in OmniSend or whatever your marketing and SMS campaign tool is. So you can use that customer support interaction data to actually build more comprehensive lists and continue engaging with those customers even after maybe that customer support conversation has ended. And then again, in terms of just saving time, having a strategy in place to help the customer help themselves too. So we do this at Gorgeous with our self-serve portal, where we let brands let customers look up their own orders themselves, deflecting up to 30% of your tickets. A lot of them are going to be that "where is my order" question, or returning orders, or canceling an order. And again, just think about ways that you can free up your time so that you can spend more of it talking to customers in pre-sale conversations via all of the channels, especially like SMS and live chat and social media. And then of course you want to track how you're doing too. So having a tool in place to really track, okay, I had a conversation with the customer, did it convert? Did it bring in more revenue? How quickly am I responding to customers? How is that affecting our revenue? So we're able to track that with Gorgeous in our statistics page. And it's really insightful to see that, customer support, don't just think about it as like a need for your brand. It's something you got to have. It's just something you got to spend money on. It's also going to be a profit center for your brand if you're doing it correctly. And that's all I have for you guys today. So feel free to, again, reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm also happy to answer any questions on the call here, of course. But if anything comes up after the call, or if you want to learn more about Gorgeous, feel free to reach out to me at laura@gorgeous.com.
Thank you, Laura. So we're opening up the field for questions. You can ask directly or you can type it into chat and I'll do the dirty work. It's up to you.
So like I got a question. So if you want to take your marketing behaviors on SMS and do it on your own, is the either platform that Laura or John offers something that I can pay for every month and log in and do what I want to do like I do with MailChimp?
Yeah, that's exactly what Omnisend, and I mean, we have got competitors in the space as well. So I mean, I would personally recommend, like, we have a lot of people graduate from MailChimp to something like Omnisend, and again, there's other solutions out there as well that they can do their email with and their SMS, and it'll all be in one combined channel with customer data there to get more personalized with both channels. And it's a monthly subscription fee.
Let me input a little something here because we work with a few of them. There are straight text apps, like SMS Bump is popular. The problem is that first of all, you're not going to end up saving any money running two different programs. But I've had so much negative experience with MailChimp, we won't touch it. So, and we do a lot of email management. We work with a couple of platforms, Omnisend being one of them. You're not saving any money on your email. I mean, to be honest with you, just the automations alone difference will cover any subscription difference. But more specifically to text, it's really a good idea to meet your customers where they are. And some are going to prefer email, some are going to prefer text. You can actually create a single campaign, intermix the messages, and make sure that those who don't take one format get the other message. And you can even say, if they didn't open their email and they're on our text list, let's send a text and see if that works better. So your return is going to be dramatically better. And so even if this costs more than, say, SMS Bump, I think that return on investment is really where the focus is. If I do this, am I really making money in it? If I'm not making money on it, then you discontinue it and you try something different. I mean, the trick is to be objective and to figure out what works best for you. Maybe information about shipping, tracking, orders sent, expected delivery, orders been delivered, suggestions for solutions to use to make this happen. That's from Chris. Do you want to take that, Laura?
Laura, you okay? Yeah, Laura, go ahead.
Yeah, so okay, about shipping, order sent, order expected delivery, order has been delivering. So you meaning like just like proactive messaging to send out and update customers on their order? It sounds like. Yeah, I mean there's a number of different apps. There's a million different shipping apps out there. We partner with quite a few of them. I'm not sure exactly what your specific needs are, so I don't know if I should make a recommendation exactly of which one. But I'd be
well, I guess I was asking, like, so there's a shipping app and then there's a text app. I mean, like, how many apps do I need to do to make that happen? Is there one app, or do I have to have two or three, or what's the stack to make that work?
What are you currently using today, Chris? Are you managing everything through the Shopify Backend? Is that what you're doing today?
Well, so fortunately, I'm setting up everything from scratch right now. So I've got like greenfield. So I'm just trying to sort of pull the best tools and solutions together. But again, I mean, yeah, I could point solution everything, or I can, really try to I mean, figure out what the best stack will look like.
and Lori, you'd probably be in a good spot to make a recommendation here. I mean, just knowing that you help merchants get started from the ground up sometimes. One thing I will tell you, Chris, is with anything, there's always, kind of like a crawl, walk, run approach. And I would say don't overbuy on all the technology. But many of the shipping apps that are out there, and Lori, you can please feel free to get into like the specific apps, but many of the shipping apps will oftentimes integrate with many of the email service providers or SMS providers to do order updates. Now, with things like Shopify or BigCommerce, from our end, whenever a shipping or a order status is updated, we actually receive that. We can use that as a trigger to trigger off a message that says, "Hey, your order's on the way," or "Your order's been delivered." Submit a review app. But for a specific tool, I'll kind of, Lori, if you don't mind, maybe jumping in there. I'd love to hear your recommendations.
Yeah, I believe, just off the top of my head, I believe ShipUp is one that does like proactive messages about the status of your order and keeping customers updated. And then there's definitely a few more. So I'd be happy to connect with you after the call and get you more information on those.
Yeah, I'm just like, there's so many different tools and solutions, and I'm fortunately in the software game, so I understand them all. It's just, yeah, there's overlaps, that happen between different features and functions, and I'm like, all right, which ones do I prioritize? Which ones do I sort of must have? Just trying to patch the puzzle together.
Definitely. Yeah, let me know after the call, and I can connect you with a few of our different partners that do just that.
And I made the assumption, I think I heard you say Shopify earlier, and I apologize if you're looking at a different
definitely
platform.
Shopify.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, like for a good example, like I think I just looked on your site and I can't remember which one of those two, but like Stamped.io was one of the ones for reviews, and I like took a look at them, did a little try. I mean, like their site crashed like 3 times in the process. I mean, it was just, I mean, that was immediately,
not a good experience.
That's a no, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And then
sure.
So then I switched over to a different one, and it's weird because they didn't integrate it quickly, but they were very good in the communication process that, in terms of what they were doing as they went along the integration part. So
got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Any
sorry
insights into saving that process?
Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely, I think we integrate with 70 plus apps today, and that's growing every single day. And Gorgeous, I know that you guys have hundreds of integrations as well. It's a big focus on both of our teams to make sure that we're fully integrated. We could probably sit here and take up like 2 hours talking about the whole stack and everything, but I definitely, like Laura said, I'd be happy to also connect offline and Chris, meet up for coffee or breakfast or something sometime soon and kind of talk about the tech stack with you as well.
Oh, you're in Austin too?
Yep. Just okay. I claim I'm in Travis County. I have the Austin flag or the Austin map over here, but I'm actually in Manor. So different. Saves a little bit of money living out here.
Yeah.
John, is your Shopify meetup tonight in person?
Yeah, I was actually gonna. We were kind of late getting it planned, and it was actually a little bit easier. We actually do have a Shopify meetup tonight. It's going to be outside at Brewtorium on Airport Boulevard. So I run the Shopify Austin meetup. I'm happy to drop the link in here as well. But if any of you guys feel comfortable, we are making, we're making sure with COVID and we're asking people to follow Austin policies and so forth. But please feel free to join us this evening at the Brewtorium at, I think it's 6:30. We're going to meet up.
And he'll buy you a beer.
Yeah, absolutely. Omnisend will buy the beer. We're asking to buy you a beer.
I would if I got a pickleball league to go to. They have beer and wine and all kinds of things out there. So if you guys ever want to come out and play pickleball and get beer and wine, Front Yard Brewery is great. You can get their beer at HEB and stuff.
Well, that's awesome.
Send those links through, John and Chris. I'm local in Austin as well, and would love to join that Shopify meetup. Can't tonight, but future ones.
Yeah, I just dropped the link to the meetup group in the chat, so please feel free to join. We're going to try to get these going virtually as well as in person every now and then. We're obviously keeping a very close eye on the conditions of Austin and trying to be respectful and completely understand that people don't feel comfortable attending and so forth. But please feel free to check it out.
Awesome.
And I was going to say, we are going to post the recording for this. Our group intends to remain, we'll probably go to a hybrid at some point, but we're going to retain the Zoom because we've developed an international audience and we really kind of like that. So it's a good thing.
Yeah,
Any
just
more
a note
questions?
on that link, just remove that last little part of it.
Yeah, I'm not
Okay,
sure what
Okay.
happened there, but I just reposted it. Thanks for catching that, Chris.
Cool.
I don't have a question, but Laura, we use Gorgeous at Guardian Bikes, and we love it. Our
Yay.
customers love it, and it definitely does save time. It's been able to help us keep the number of customer service people a little bit lower than it might have been, and let them focus on some other things that really keep the customer experience high. John, I give you guys a shout out, but we don't use you at the moment. But I know the importance of the keeping everything integrated. To Elijah's comment, MailChimp and SMS or other things separate is really tough. So Chris, if you find something that can integrate, knowing when they get hit with a touch point on a review or an NPS request, along with the other stuff, like if you have multiple things that aren't talking, it really does cause a lot of problems.
Yeah, no, that's like, I'm like a stickler for, like, I'll figure it out. Trust me. I'm like way too analytical not to, but yeah, I figure if I can pick some smart people's brains rather than having to read it myself and trial and error, but
Yeah. Well, and to the conversation I had with anyway earlier, when you choose software, there's two ways software makes you money. Number one is the more obvious. I spend $1, I get back 10, I'm real happy. The other is that it saves you time. And when it saves you time, it allows you more time to do the things that generate actual revenue. Not to mention it may save you fewer employees. I know at least one $2 million, actually it's up to $2.8 million a year company that's run by a single person. So this is where he's saving money, is by consolidating all his information into the right points and making sure everything syncs real well. So keep that in mind as you build your systems, that there's two ways to save money, and you should always keep your eye focused on what you gain.
Oh, there's one other question I had. Maybe, like, you guys talked about the text economics, but didn't really talk any specifics or examples. I'd just be curious, what's the cost per, you can buy credits and obviously there's some volume, but what's your thoughts on the economics there?
Specifically around like email, or just in general the entire stack, like what you should be,
well, just
what you
the
should be
SMS in
expecting from, like, a
particular.
return.
I think the SMS in particular, because you kind of highlighted this idea that, like, hey, you don't want to, just do SMS. You kind of mix it into the thing because, obviously it's more expensive. So, but specifically cost-wise, what's the, what do you see as some of the economic drivers there?
It's a good question. I mean, ultimately, I didn't put this into the presentation, but there's obviously, anything you do, there's always a measurement of, hey, am I seeing return on investment? And I'll call it out. I hope there's no one from, they're based in Houston, but Arctic Coolers, competitor of Yeti. I somehow got on their text message list. I did buy a cooler one time, but I probably get 4 or 5 texts from them each week, and it's literally the same thing. It's like, check out this sale, 5% off on this product, and I get no emails from them. And I haven't clicked on any of these. I haven't visited their site or anything in some time. So that's got to be quite costly if they're doing that to their entire subscriber base. So I can definitely ask around, and Chris, internally. We've got a gentleman named Greg Zachlitz who leads all of our content and puts everything together. Greg's amazing. He used to be a commerce marketing strategist and for retailers himself. I can ask him for like specifics, like what you should expect to continue to investing in things like SMS and so forth. But ultimately, I mean, you want to make sure that the most key thing here is make sure that you have a tool in place that can track those sales. And even if it's just like hey, I see increase in revenue every single time I send a text message, or it's kind of like that crawl, walk, run approach. But if you can track back to this UTM came specifically from this text message campaign or the specific message, you can then start tracking the revenue back to it. The biggest challenge with SMS is you can't track open rates. Like that is, it's not, and quite frankly, as soon as iOS 15 is out, you're not gonna be able to track open rates with email anymore either. That was one of the last topics that Lori had me talk about, is we call a hashtag open rates are dead, but email is not. So it's, you just want to make sure that you're keeping a really close eye on it. The cool thing about it is 5 years ago, so for one text message here in the US, I think it's a penny and a half is what we charge. So considerably less than what it had been 5 years ago. I remember a previous company I worked with prior to the commerce, I mentioned Bronto. For any of our merchants to get started, I mean, it was a several $1,000 investment just to get your keyword set up and to get your short code set up. Then you had to buy the actual volume itself. So you're talking like a $10,000 investment into getting into SMS. For $20, you can test it right now. And so it's a pretty minimal, kind of dip your toe into the sand or into the water. But I can try to get some examples of what you should expect from a return on investment standpoint.
Yeah, and I look at
That's a very long-winded answer there.
Perfect kind of thing is get people will give you their phone number if you're going to keep them up to date on their order. It's like you said, I don't know, whoever said it was like, yeah, I kind of get excited when, Amazon sends me the thing and it's like 10 houses away or something. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Or it just showed up. I mean, I don't know.
You're like a kid on Christmas, Christmas Eve looking for Santa to land on your roof. You're like, oh, yeah. Where's he at?
Yeah. So I'm looking at I'm just going to add, kind of add that into my cost of, like my shipping costs, so it's whatever, another 5 cents,
sure.
It's another, whatever the case may be.
And that's definitely interesting when you're looking at it, is like on the P&L, is this actually a marketing expense or is this a shipping expense or operational expense? So I think that you'll find that once you start leveraging it effectively, it becomes a significant driver of revenue. Because we're, like I said, we're seeing some merchants that have over a 2,700% return on investment with it.
Well, I think that we're actually 5 minutes over time, so I'm going to call it, guys.
Yeah.
This has been a fabulous session. I'm seeing from other people that I'm not the only one that thinks so. So in any case, thank you all. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, John. And we're really happy to have had you. And we'd let, one of these days, maybe after the new year, we'll share success stories from people who've actually implemented some of this stuff. And I think it's actually kind of good to hear from the voice of experience, store owners who have done something and they're really proud of the returns they've gained on what they've done. So I think that would make an interesting session. Anyway, thank you both. Thank you, everybody else.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, that was weird.